Where do you need to go? Sam blinked for a second as he flopped into the back seat of the taxi. Strange thing to say. Usually, any other taxi driver would say, "Where to?" Or "Where do you want to go?" "Berkeley Street. Just by the garage." Sam rested his head back and closed his eyes for a second. He couldn't wait to get home and go to bed. These long days were killing him. He opened his eyes again. The taxi sat still and motionless on the dark, deserted street. Sam leaned forward a little. "Driver." In the front, a dark figure, his two big hands on the steering wheel. A cap pulled down low over his eyes. "Berkeley Street, just by the, I heard you the first time," said the driver. "Okay, it's been a long day," said Sam. "I just need to, and I'll ask you again, where do you need to go?" Sam blinked again. "What was this?" "I just told you. Twice in fact." The driver stared ahead. The car engine rumbling beneath them. "No. You told me where you want to go. That's not where you need to go." Sam's eyes fixed on the back of the driver's head. He could only make out the man's jacket collar pulled up around his neck. The cap pulled down to his ears. He could not see one feature of the man in front. "All right, thanks anyway." Sam grabbed his bag and pulled at the door handle. But the door didn't open. He yanked at the handle a couple of times, but the door remained closed. Child-proof locks. To stop a kid from opening the door. Or anyone, for that matter. "Listen, let me out. I'll get another cab somewhere else." The driver didn't move. "Tell me where you need to go." "I need to get out of this taxi," said Sam. "Before I call the police." No movement from the driver. Sam pulled out his phone and swiped the screen. Nothing. He swiped again. He tapped the screen. Maybe out of juice. He could have sworn he had a full battery earlier. He swiped again, but nothing. "Just let me out here please," he said to the driver. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." The driver spoke again. "Tell me where you need to go." Each word emphasized. Sam looked out the side window. Opposite, a row of shops, all closed. He turned in his seat to look behind him and saw the street disappearing into the darkness. Not a soul around. No one. "Look, I'm sorry, but I don't know what this is about. If you want my money, I've got some in my wallet." "You can have that," and the driver tilted his head. "Where do you need to go?" Sam stared ahead. Through the window of the front of the taxi, he could make out the deserted street. The lights on either side, illuminating the sidewalk with conical shapes. He turned, panic flooding through his veins, and yanked at the door handle. Pulled at it several times until it snapped off in his hand. He banged at the window with his fists. "Let me out of here. Let me out right now." The driver didn't flinch. His body rigid in the front seat. Sam fell back into the rear seat, his breath coming out of him in short bursts. He blinked away the tears that filled his eyes, wiped away the salty sting from his eyelids. "What do you want?" he said, his voice coming out in a hoarse whisper. "Where do you need to go?" "I need to go home," said Sam. "I need to get home and sleep. I've been working all day, and I am tired. I need to go home." "That's where you want to go," said the driver. "But think. Think carefully. Where do you need to go?" Sam opened his mouth to speak, but the driver raised his right hand to stop him. "No. Think. Think carefully now. Where do you really need to go tonight? What is the one place that you need to go?" Sam sat frozen in the back. Where did he need to go? He thought about it and could not think of one possible answer. He needed to be home. That was where he needed to be. He wasn't tired. He was exhausted. He needed to get inside his own apartment, have a shower, a cup of hot tea and then bed. He needed sleep. That was what he needed. But he could not speak. The car engine hummed beneath him and the driver sat in front, unmoving. Then it came to him. Sam's mouth fell open. His face dropped and his eyes closed. That was where he needed to be. The car engine purred. And the driver sat still in the front. Sam opened his mouth, but no words came. The driver cleared his throat. Where do you need to go? Sam raised his eyes to the rear-view mirror. He could just now make out the driver's own eyes. Steely gray, no emotion inside them. Sam leaned forward and whispered the address to the driver. The driver nodded, put the car into gear and slowly drove down the street. Sam stared outside. The cold, gray windows he had walked past 1,000 times on his way to the office. Windows that he may never see again. Colleagues in his office he may never talk to again. But he had to go. It was where he needed to go, and he had put it off for so long.